Welcome to another episode of the Pat Down with Miss Pat. I'm Miss Pat, comedian Miss Pat, with my co-host here, Chris Spangle. If I didn't mess up his name, because I fuck up his name all the time. This episode is about tell your truth. On this podcast, we don't talk nothing but real shit.
You better get up, get out, and tune into this podcast. Miss Pat spit the truth, spit the real facts. Nothing but the ugly, classy at the same time. Pat got the flavor, these are not your same lines. That's the politics, she been on the real grind. It could be pretty but ugly at the same time. Just tune in, put your lock on the spin down. Ain't no need for the wait and turn it up now. What you talking about? Is it real though? And cut the game, you get no play like Nintendo. You wasted time, turn it up, nothing but the ugly. Straight off the top, everything she say, you know it's funny. Full blast, this a taste of the future. Listen on your iPhone, on your desktop computer. Share it, tweet it, ain't no way to beat it. Nothing but the ugly, turn it up and gon' repeat it. Nothing but the ugly, turn it up and repeat it.
I'm sitting here today with my friend Chris Spangle. Did I pronounce your last name right?
It's Spangle, but
Spangle.
close
Like,
enough, yeah.
What did I say?
It's Spangler.
Is it like the star, what is it?
The Star Spangled Banner without the D, yeah.
Yeah, okay, Spangle.
Yes.
Oh,
You got it.
what did I say?
Spangler.
Oh shit! It sounds like some spaghetti. I'm good for fucking up names.
That's okay.
So I was today I was just strolling through social media, looking, reading shit. Stuff had to catch my eye. So what caught my eye today was this story about an ex-Baylor frat president indicted on 4 counts of sexual assault. Won't serve a day in jail.
You shitting me.
He spiked a young lady drink.
Okay.
And at a frat party, and after she put her drink down, she picked it up and she walked away with it, and she she drank it.
Yeah.
After he spiked it, and she got really fucking dizzy, whatever that stuff do to you. So she kind of went outside, and in the article she said she could see him following her, but she didn't think nothing of it because he had a girlfriend.
Right.
Well, he take her outside and sexual assault her in 2016.
Okay.
And reading this article, it really brought back. I mean, because I'm a victim of sexual assault. It really got to me. But for once, you violated somebody.
Right.
For 2, you get away with it. Literally, he went to court. 2 years, what is it, 16, 17, 18, 3 years later, he go to court and take a plea deal. He don't even have to register as a sex offender.
Okay.
That's what you call white privilege in America.
I don't. That to me is astounding.
Not to me. That's not astounding. It happened all the time with young white guys. And one of the things that the prosecutor said was he was pretty much when the young lady wrote her statement, she said he was too good looking to go to jail.
The girl, the
prosecutor said you can't send this young white proudful white boy to jail. You must give him another chance, which floored me because I don't give a fuck what color you are.
Right.
If you violate what he did to this lady, he literally raped her, stuck his small dick in her mouth, and she was all fucked up on whatever he put in her drink. Totally violate her, left her outside behind a trash can.
There doesn't seem to me to be like any reason to not put that person in jail. Like I don't get. I don't. That's
understand.
The ultimate violation of societal norms. Like it's just.
Why our justice system would not prosecute young white men to the fullest like they do young black men, I have no clue. Well, yeah, I do have a clue. It's called I don't give a fuck about nobody but white boys, and they're just being honest. Mm-hmm. And I mean, and I said today on my social media, I said if this kid was black, he would have been fucking thrown up under jail. Probably been beat on the way to jail. Probably been dead, didn't even make it a trial. They probably would have killed him. Mm-hmm. But you give this motherfucker a second chance. Once a rapist is always a rapist.
So let me ask it a different way. Should a young black man in that situation be given a second chance?
Hell no, nigga. I mean, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? Fuck no. He should be locked the fuck up. You think I'm going to take up because he's black? No, I'm not going to take up for him because he's black. I'm not taking up for R. Kelly because he was one of the greatest singers out there. I hate to see him go, but he got to get the fuck on. I'm not taking up for Bill Cosby because he's one of the greatest comedians ever lived. I'm not taking up for Michael Jackson. I didn't even watch the fucking documentary on Michael Jackson.
Yeah. But
I'm not taking up for nobody who violates anybody, whether you a boy or a girl. I don't give a fuck if an onion fucker if an onion fucker orange, that onion need to go to jail.
that was all right.
Onion should be fucking outside. They're just too far outside your race. Okay. Onion stinks. Oranges are sweet. All jokes aside, but no, he should be locked the fuck up. And it's so fucked up in this country in this world that you can violate women like that and get away with it.
Because that's a situation where this woman will never be the same.
Hell no, she'll never be the same. And
it's generational too.
And she said in the article that he took her virginity. So now you got to always remember losing your virginity to a piece of shit like that. And usually most women lose their virginity to a piece of shit, but it's always willing for it sometime, most time, 90% of the time. Yeah. But every time you think about losing your virginity or sex, you always will remember this motherfucker face while he go out and have a simple life. This motherfucker go out and have wife and kids and act like this never happened. They didn't register him as a sexual What is it?
Registered sexual offender.
Registered sexual offender. They didn't register him as that. He should be in jail for 30 years. You get a tap. You got 3 years probation, $400 fine. You mean to tell me this white girl life is just worth $400 fucking dollars?
Yeah, he doesn't even have to pay for the therapy that she has to go through for years. Yeah,
he got to go through some alcohol and drug therapy. Now you tell me this country ain't fucked up. This country don't give a fuck about women, but they're quick to tell us what we can and can't do with our bodies. Mm-hmm. But when you violate us, we don't give a fuck. But you better not have an abortion. You going to hell. No, you motherfuckers going to hell. That's why I always say, that's your pussy. If you choose to set firecrackers off in your pussy and turn it into the 4th of July, that is your pussy. Set 4th of July your pussy. Do what you want to do to your body. This is my body. Who the fuck are you to tell me not to have an abortion? Who the fuck? If I want to take a staple and clamp my jaws together on my vagina, I can do that. If I don't want my vagina to leak or talk, I got that right. This is my body.
Right.
But this world try to tell us as women, we can't set firecrackers off in our pussy. If the juice don't get on you, it should be all right, right?
Right.
If I turn my vagina into 4th of July and as long don't none splatter on you, it's my vagina.
I agree with you. I think as long as that's the problem with this guy. Like the foundational principles of this country is that you should be able to do whatever you want to do as long as you're not hurting somebody else.
Exactly.
But we've gone so far in legislating things that are nonviolent crimes, like the drug war, for instance, takes up so much energy and time.
When it never was a war on drugs, it was a war on black people. That'll be a whole nother topic, y'all. A whole nother episode. No fucking war on no drugs.
But then this guy,
how can it be a war on something that the government let in here? Since we went there. How the fuck is a war on something that the government... Nothing get in this fucking country without the government knowing about it.
Yeah.
And I'm not even going to go deep because I was a crack dealer. And if you listen to this podcast for the first time, yes, I used to sell crack. Nothing get in this motherfucker without the government. Yeah. Not no Mexican, not no drugs, not no apple, not no orange, not no baby, not nothing.
Not even an onion.
Not even an onion fucking orange.
It was a weird place to take it right after the... But... Yeah, I mean, to your point, like Nixon couldn't criminalize being black or being a liberal, so he started the war on drugs. I mean, it was literally...
Was that Nixon? I thought that was the daddy Bush and then Clinton.
No, it was Ehrlichman said that in the 90s, Nixon's chief of staff. So because they wanted to win in 72, they wanted to start cracking down on...
Weed? Crack wasn't popular when Nixon was in office. I wasn't even born when Nixon was in office.
No, but you have to remember, like in the late 60s, you had like all these, you had the Black Power movement, you had the Black Panthers, and then...
they was cracking down on niggas, not drugs.
So
right. It wasn't no movement on no drugs. It was a crackdown on niggas. That's what it was.
And then you had, like the Weather Underground, which were a bunch of white college kids who were anti-war, who were bombing federal buildings.
Yeah.
And they couldn't really, so to infiltrate those groups, the Black Panthers, the Weather Underground, they started going after quote unquote drugs. And so they started, middle America basically said, yeah, we should really crack down on drugs. This is getting out of hand. But it was really just a way for the government to crack down on being black, on being anti-government.
Different. Yeah.
They
ain't give a fuck about no anti-government because look how long it took them getting that shit with Waco and all that other shit.
Yeah.
All they give a fuck about is blacks. They want to know what the fuck the Black Panther was doing.
Right.
And I have people still ask me to this day, what about the Black Panther? I was like, they work at Jiffy Lube. All the ones you didn't kill. They work at Jiffy Lube.
Are the Black Panthers still around?
They work at Jiffy Lube.
I didn't know that.
I don't know that either, but I'm quite sure the movement is over and they got a fucking job by now.
Yeah.
Okay? They got a 9 to 5. So I haven't seen a Black Panther, and I was born in the 70s.
Right.
I don't know if no fucking Black Panther. I don't know if the movement is real. I've never seen a fucking Black Panther.
I remember they popped up in like the 90s.
Oh, there was a bunch of kids overdressed in heat.
They were just hot.
I remember that too. They used to be. They changed their name from the Black Panther. I think they was called the Guardian Angels or some shit like that.
I think that was like the guys that wore red caps in the subway. But yeah, I just remember as a kid in the 90s, at the LA riots, like Black Panthers were around then. But
see, I was really young in the 90s, and you was a fucking kid in the 90s. So there's some shit you read.
Yeah. No, I
wasn't paying attention to the world in the 90s.
I was a nerd, so.
Oh, okay. Well, you was a nerd. I think I was selling crack in the 90s, so that was none of my fucking business what the Black Panther was doing. I was living my best life. I was young. I was selling crack. I was shooting at my baby daddy. I was fucking roller skating with him. I was fucking having a time of my life. I didn't know what the fuck was going on in the world. All I know is what was going on in my community. We was shooting craps, selling crack, and eating a lot of fucking fast food.
What was your go-to fast food?
It's this place in Atlanta called Homebox.
Okay.
And they sold like fried rice and chicken wings, and everybody went to Homebox.
Do you ever go back and do you go and visit Homebox? And
I don't think it's there anymore. I don't think it's any more Homeboxes, but no. Only place I go back to, I used to go to the Varsity in Atlanta.
Okay.
That shit give me bubble stomachs now. You can't eat the Varsity. You can't eat Varsity when you over 30. Unless you got on a diaper. That shit have you have chili coming out your ass.
What is it?
Varsity it's fucking a staple of Atlanta.
Okay, but I'm
hot dog joint.
Okay,
it's a hot dog joint.
Okay.
It's been around fucking I don't know how many years. Let me Google it, but it's been around for fucking years.
So it's like chili dogs and
chili dogs, chili hamburgers, and if you don't know no better, you'll think the shit is really good.
Right.
When you from Atlanta, you be like, stay the fuck away from the Varsity unless you want to die. It's good it's good when you constipated. If you got something to get out your ass, the Varsity will get it out your ass.
Is it like you're drunk at 2 a.m. so you go to the Varsity? That sort of food?
Yeah, but they got like homemade onion rings. It's good, but when you live there, you know how it is. It's really for people who can't get it every day.
Right.
When I first moved to India and moved back to Atlanta. I mean, when I first moved here, when I used to go to Atlanta all the time. I would stop at the Varsity. That only took 2 trips. I damn near couldn't make it all the way home.
And you realized you weren't 20. Yeah. The older you get, man, I don't know what is going on with the bowels, but I had Chipotle today. And, I'm 35. I can't imagine what it'll be like at 65.
Oh, yeah. And some people been working out damn near since the place opened. Let me see how long this place been open. It opened in, I lied.
Okay.
Nobody can't be employed from the time this place opened. This place was opened in 1928.
Jeez. Okay.
If he's still there, he should be fucking owning the place. That's all I'm saying.
You'd be roughly 137.
Back in the day, they used to roll up on the roller skates. Remember how they used to do
it? Car hops.
Yeah, they done got too old for that shit now, so there's a bunch of old black men just walk, fuck you on.
Now, is there a chain or is this just like a one stop?
It's like 2. Inside of our stadium, they have one.
Okay.
They have one.
Okay.
So it's just a staple of Atlanta. So it's not bad. I wouldn't eat it now. It's in the airport too.
We really got on a tangent from, rape in college to onions to chili dogs.
That's how this podcast go. You don't know where the fuck the conversation is going. We're going to try to steer it one way. We're back to the young man who raped a young girl. So I put it on social media today, like I said earlier. And it was such an eye-opening. It was such an eye-opening that this country don't take sexual assault against anybody so serious. It's a shame that a person like R. Kelly can do what he's accused of doing for so many years and get away with it. Like everybody, I remember when everybody said R. Kelly was going with Aaliyah.
Yeah, he married like a 15-year-old girl, yeah.
And at that time, I was in a relationship. My kid's father, I was 12, and he was 22. So when you put that, I remember them going on one of those hip-hop shows that was very popular back then. I can't remember the name of it. And I remember seeing them dressed alike. And I was like, oh, it's cool. Aaliyah got an older boyfriend, so do I.
Yeah.
So you made young girls think, and then, they said they wasn't dating, but you could tell that they was dating. So it made young girls like me think it was okay. But then when I get older, I realized this motherfucker was violating me. And nobody said shit. When do this country step up and do something about young girls like the young girl that this just happened to, young girls like me, young girls like Aaliyah, all of this shit that continue to go on that you allow people with money to get away with?
Well, that's the thing. Like, watching Surviving R. Kelly, which I think is, like, if you've got a daughter and she's preteen, show her that documentary because they're going to see. Did you see it? Did you watch all of it?
Man, first of all, fuck that documentary. First of all, I would never take my daughter to an R. Kelly concert.
Yeah.
Even if she was 18 years old, I say, look, let me tell you something. This motherfucker's a nasty ass freak. I'm going to make sure our tickets is nowhere near the stage so he can call my daughter up there.
Right.
I mean, you have to constantly talk to your kids. Cause, kids are they want to be popular. They naive. Yeah. And I can see the parents, I can see some of the parents being duped. Like one girl was at a concert and her daughter get caught up on stage. She's 18 years old or 17 years old. And he grind on. Me being the mama that I am, I would have ran up on that stage and said, get your old ass dick off my daughter, nigga. Get your old ass dick off my daughter. Right. What the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah. You 46 years old putting that soft dick on my baby. That soft ass dick. You don't get that motherfucking diabetic dick off my baby. That's just the type of parent I am. You're not rubbing no soft dick on my 18-year-old daughter. She should have the experience of feeling the shit before it gets soft.
Yeah, the girls that are like basically trapped now, you go, like, these parents genuinely thought
they're
that
brainwashed.
It wasn't going to happen to us. We were watching them. They were taking care. It's like the second a predator. I mean, I didn't really know a lot about it, but I think watching stuff like Surviving R. Kelly, I think it's like starting to change. I think the Me Too movement has been really helpful in starting to change things. What? Okay, yeah, we got to take a break. But I think it's really starting to help change things. So maybe after we take a break, I want to hear your opinion on the Me Too movement.
Oh yeah, well after we come back from a break with my opinion on the Me Too movement. That's a big ass movement. All right, we back. We back with this Me Too movement. I was so happy when the Me Too movement came out because finally it gave so many women voices like me. Because, when you've been violated, you really don't want to talk about it. That's one of the reasons why I sell a T-shirt to say it's never too late to tell your truth. It takes a lot to come out and tell somebody that you've been violated.
Right.
Because as a woman, when you wait a long time, like the lady, remember when our president nominated Kavanaugh and the lady came forward?
Blasey Ford.
Yeah, and they was like, well, if it's really true, why you wait 25 years?
Right.
And that shit kicked me in my chest. And I was like, come on, America, that's somebody's mother, daughter, sister, aunt, friend. Why would you do her like that? But that's one of the reasons why they don't come out, because people fucking start to judge. Why you wait? It's none of your fucking business why we wait. It takes a lot. My mama boyfriend molested me and my sister. Shit started day one she met this predator. And one of the things he told us, he would take us and take us, I'll never forget this shit. And I don't really tell this story. My husband never heard this story until I wrote my book. And well, you read it. He would take us out to the graveyard and perform oral sex on us. And we was like 7.
Right.
We didn't know what it was. And he would give us $5. And he was like, don't tell your mama, because if you tell your mama, then you guys going to have to move and I won't buy you food no more. So in our head, he brainwashed us to make us think that we was helping our mom.
Right.
That we was helping our family. And he did this shit for years.
Right.
Years. And not one. I remember trying to tell her, and she's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And then after that, you knew she didn't care. But he continued to do it until the day I started messing with my kid's father at 12 years old. He continued to violate. He molested me and my sister from probably 6 or 7 to about 12 years old, 11 or 12 years old.
I mean, talk about the first time you really brought that up when you were writing your book.
When I wrote my book, and I had never told anybody that story. So when my co-writer was like, are you ready? You know, I know you've been violated. I was like, I really don't want to talk about this. She was like, Pat, you got to put it in the book. So I said, I had to take a deep breath, and I'll never forget it. I was standing in the kitchen, and I go and I tell I said, let me call my sister on 3-way. So I called my sister and I said, Maypop, I said, I have the lady who write my book on 3-way. I said, I'm going to ask you some questions and you just answer them to the best of your knowledge. I said, do you remember what Mr. John did to us? She said, yes. I said, do you remember where? And she told the location. And do you remember his car? And I said, okay. Because, you know, when you write a book like my book, you want to make sure people not making up shit.
Sure.
So I got off the phone with her and I said, I think I'm ready to tell you. And no lie, me and this woman cried for probably 30 minutes. Because I had never told that story. And everything that I had taken, all that pain I had taken and pushed to the back, it just ran to the front.
Yeah, you feel all those feelings like the second you say it.
Oh, my God. And I could not stop boo-hooing. I could not stop crying because it was over 30 years.
Yeah.
I had never told that story before. And I wanted to tell it, but I always push back. That shit didn't happen. I don't want to talk about that.
Right.
I don't want to think about that when no memories come back. Like it was certain music that I would hear that would remind me of him. Certain things, certain smell that would upset me. And nobody knew why.
Right.
And my husband was like, you bipolar? I said, no. It would be bad memories of my mama boyfriend.
Yeah.
Certain foods I could see in the grocery store.
Yeah. Just make sure you're talking to the mic directly.
Oh, so certain foods I could see in the grocery store. Just certain stuff I could see and hear and smell that would remind me of that piece of shit.
Yeah.
And I told the story. I had never told it. And when I was sitting there watching this lady tell her story after all of these years, and everybody was like, why you wait so long? She telling a lie. Even women were saying that shit. And I was like, what if that was your fucking daughter? I mean, put yourself in other people's situation. What if that was your fucking daughter? Would you want people to judge her like that?
Yeah.
And there's so many women that want to tell their stories in this world, but that's one of the reasons why. There was a national stage that people dogged this woman out on. People literally said, go fuck you. Nobody care about you being violated. We want him in office.
And what kind of message does that send to women like
this
you,
country
5 years ago who was sitting there going, I want to tell my story, but nobody's going to believe me because I'm watching this woman tell, and that's where I like look at it's whether you believed her or not, like there's certain ways that you can talk about these things that are respectful, I think, to all sides, because I don't think people really understand when they talk on social media about certain things. People aren't seeing you talk about Christine Blasey Ford. They're seeing you talk about them.
Yes.
And you don't understand the weight of the choice of your words when you're on social media sometimes. I don't, and I'm sure most people don't. And like, I think for somebody like you who's gone through what you've gone through, you read that and you're just kind of going, well, then I'm just not going to tell anybody. And that just
by that time I had already told my story. It was in the book. The book was out. But I was sitting there saying that was one of the reasons why I never opened my mouth.
Yeah.
And it took a lot to put that story in the book. It took a lot to open them doors and dig up. Those were some demons. There were some demons I had finally locked in a closet there was some pain. I don't know if they was demon, but there was some pain that I had literally locked away that I didn't want to ever deal with. I was willing to go to my grave with that story. My own husband, who I've been with for over 20 years, had never heard that story before.
So when Rabbit comes out, what was the reaction to that particular story, maybe some of the other tougher ones?
That probably was the toughest story in there. Other part of the book was just mostly about how I was denied love, how I realized in life what I was searching for. I was searching for love.
Yeah.
And it opened my eyes. It made me realize that's what a lot of people search for. Whether you a boy or girl, people be so confused and be in and out of relationship. You're like, what is wrong with you? I was never in and out of relationship. That's actually my third man in my life. That's my third relationship. And I realized I didn't love myself. I did. That's one of the things I realized
through the writing of the book, or before.
Over the years, when people like, how did you get where you at today? I was like, I don't know. Honestly, people like, how the fuck did you come from all of this bullshit? You've been molested, you've been raped, you've been shot, you've been beat, and how did you get here? And I was like, I don't know. Yeah. And then when I started to sit down and put my life into perspective, and I was like, oh my God, I was searching for something. Yeah. And that's what it tells you at the end of the book. I was searching for love. Yeah. All I ever wanted to do, that's one of the things when my kid's father said, oh, I love you. It hooked me like a fucking fish to a hook. Because nobody had ever said that. I never heard those words. And I took it to heart. I mean, I felt hell over heel for him. It was rough. I mean, I was really just a young girl looking for guidance. I think because he was so much older than me. Yeah. I think he was more like sometimes I say he was a father figure because he was like 22, 23, and I was 12. Yeah, a big brother,
which is victimization in and of itself. I mean, do you look at that relationship now and look at your age and go, that in and of itself was a problem?
Yeah. But you know what I realized too, writing the book? One of the things I realized writing this book, with Rabbit, I realized it was a cycle I was stuck in. My mama had kids by an older man. My mama had her last child when she was 21 years old. I was her sixth child. A kid before me, one of her kids before me died. So I made her sixth child at 21. My daddy had my mama by 8 years, like my kid's father had me by 8 years. Wow. So when we started to write the book and put it, I was like, oh my God, I was in a cycle. Yeah. But I had kind of already realized I was in a cycle. But writing this book, I really realized, I was like, and I was determined to get off of this fucking train. Yeah. I came from high school dropout, teenage pregnancy, welfare, just scheming. That was my family background. Everybody followed those rules, growing up to be a piece of shit. Right. And I was like, I'm not going to raise my kids like this. My kids are not going to get molested. My kids are not going to get dropped. They're not going to drop out of school. Right. There's somebody in this motherfucker going to college. They're going to be productive citizens in this world. No, I hadn't never heard nobody talked about voting in my house. I just up and decided, you know what? I want to see what this voting shit about.
Well, when you're trying to survive, that's probably the last thing on your mind.
Well, I got some flyers in the mail, and when I got the flyers in the mail, I didn't know. I wasn't a Democrat or Republican. I just got a Bob Dole and I got a Bill Clinton. That was the year. I was 18 years old. And I was like, well, who the fuck do I vote for? And me and my friends was like, bitch, we don't know. We don't know nothing about voting. I was like, well, we're going to go fucking vote. And I looked at Bob Dole and I was like, oh my God, this white man is old and wrinkled and ugly. I'm not voting for this prune face ass white dude.
Right, yeah.
And then I looked at Bob Dole. I looked at Bill Clinton. I was like, God damn, Bill Clinton cute. I was like, we vote for this cute ass white dude right here. Right. We vote for him, and that's how I became a Democrat. All because Bill Clinton was on that flyer looking like a snack, baby. He was looking like a white snack. He was looking like a white cracker that day. One of them crackers that you get at church and you put on your tongue and it dissolves.
The community. That's
the community cracker. That's a Jewish cracker. Who the fuck you get them crackers from?
Oh,
He was looking like one of them crackers that dissolve on your tongue. I was like, I'll do this cracker right here. That motherfucker cute. And that's how I fucking became a Democrat.
That's wild.
And I went and voted, and I felt so proud. And I was like, I am a productive citizen.
So we're almost out of time, but I wonder if there's anybody listening who is a woman who's been violated or in a situation like you've been in, or like this woman, and hasn't come forward and talked to anybody. Like, what would you say to her?
I would say tell your story. Don't ever be afraid to tell your fucking story. It's your story. You can't change the minds of people you can't change people's minds on what they're going to believe or what they're going to think of you. Who gives the fuck what people think about you?
Yeah.
That's one of the things I had to learn. I don't give a fuck what you think about me no more. I don't give a fuck. Tell your story. Your story, it will be such a relief. It's almost like losing 10 pounds off your titties. If you got any titties.
Yeah.
If you don't, you gotta take if you don't, you gotta take that 10 pounds from somewhere else.
Right.
But, I tell people all the time, tell your story. Don't be ashamed of what you've been through. It's not your fault. You didn't put yourself in that situation. So tell your fucking story. And you tell it with your head held high. I mean, I had a kid at 14 and a kid at 15. And I had this woman tell me in Atlanta one time, I was doing a show, and she whispered in my ear, she said, Miss Pat, how can you tell people you had a kid at 14? She said, I had my child at 14. My own child don't know I had her at 14. And I was like, why? She said, because I'm embarrassed. I said, for what, bitch? The child is grown now. Everybody make mistakes. It ain't nobody on this earth that ain't never made a mistake. Only one was Jesus Christ. And that's why he got the hell out of here at 33 years old.
Right.
So what are you ashamed of? Don't ever be ashamed of your past. I ran into a girl who I did a year with in prison, and we was getting our hair done, and she was like, you remember me? And I was like, yeah. And then I got to talking, she's like, about jail, and she was like, shh. I was like, what? She was like, my daughter don't know I've been to jail. I'm like, why not? Why not tell your child that you made mistakes in life, and you share that experience with them, and then they'll know not to make them. At least you hope they'll know not to make them. I've never hid anything from my kid. Everything that I've been through, I said with my head held high, because I made some fucking mistakes and I'm not perfect. But I'm not going to be ashamed of them. I say on stage now I was a horrible ass mother. And I was. I sold crack in front of my daughter's school. I tell a bit about it now, but I did. Shit, and I tell them, I said, don't judge me, because I was there before the drug-free school zone signs went up. So technically, I was grandfathered in. I was there before they was there. Shit, I'm the reason why they put them signs up there. So technically, I wasn't selling drugs in front of my daughter's school until you motherfucker wanted to change the laws and put the school and tell me to move to the next block with my crack. But it was all right for the first few years across the street. But I made those mistakes, and I sit down with my daughter, and I apologize for being a horrible mom at 14 and 15. I did, but now I tell people all the time, don't ever be ashamed of what you've been through. No matter, fuck what people think about you. Do you? You can't change the past. I think the more you talk, I know for me, the more I talk about what I've been through in life, it's always been a healing method. That's how I got on my kid's father. I had to take all of that rage and talk about it. I know my husband was tired of hearing about my ex. I remember one time waking up, my kid's father used to beat me a lot. And I woke up, and I would wake up fighting, and my husband would go grab and hold me. And I did it for like a week straight after we first kind of moved in together. Yeah. And so my husband works at Simmons Mattress at the time. And I woke up and I was crying. I was fighting. He was like, what's wrong? I was like, in my dream, he keep hitting me. He said, look, can you hit that nigga back so we can go to bed? I went back to sleep and kicked his ass in my dream, and I never dreamed of him again.
That's great. I think when you tell your story, like you think people are going to judge you, but usually people are just very empathetic and caring.
Well, you'd be surprised how many people have went through what you went through, and know someone who went through what you went through. So it's just about getting it out there. I have people whisper in my ear all the time about from all walks of life. That's the crazy shit.
Yeah.
The crazy shit is people from all walks of life come up to me. People you were, well, bitch, you a struck. I thought you were rich. No, bitch. I'm just like you. Damn. Only difference is my hair don't come off. That's what they usually say. That's what they usually say. Yeah. So we're going to wrap this up. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. This is another episode of Pat Down with Miss Pat.